Honorable Beatrice Ogola, we have been and we will continue being gender sensitive in terms of disaster response. If you see what the government did last year, a lot of focus was on issues that are going to affect women, the needs, specific needs of women, specific needs for children, and this will continue. And we will continue perfecting, our responses based on the experience we get from every year. And I believe that the gender-based sensitive measures are continuing going to be revised to ensure that we are effectively responding to disasters. On Senator Mungatana's question of DCI, indeed, we have a financial challenge and capacity challenge at the DCI, and we are working to address that issue because there is a backlog. If you heard from my report earlier, the situation in Kirinyaga and the one in Tana River, both are still waiting for the report of the ballistic report to come out. But in my last visit, when I went to DCI office, they made certain requests that we are trying to factor in the incoming budget. And I believe that we should be able to make it to
expedite the process, because these are 23 guns, so you have to really match each one of them until you find this is the one which was owned by or used by this particular officer. Finally, Mr. Speaker, on the question of Senator Lomenen, we will assess the security situation. We continuously receive intelligence reports about the situation in Turkana, between Turkana and West Pokot, including recent activities around mining areas in Aro and the border. And we still have a dicey situation in some cases, but we lifted the ban as soon as we are ready to do so, and we can work together with local leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Cabinet Secretary. Senator Joe Nyutu, under 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am just following up on the question by Senator Murango, question number 1, about the actions that were taken by the ministry following the killing of 2 people. The CS has responded and they said that they introduced patrols and special operations and many others. Mr. Speaker, then my question is, we were taught I think in lower primary school that prevention is better than cure. So what is the ministry doing to see to it that we have preventive measures other than responsive measures? Because, Mr. Speaker, 1 life lost is 1 too many. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Senator. Senator Catherine Muma.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is a follow-up on Senator Beatrice Ogola's question. CS, the time to prepare for disaster or management of the floods in Nyando is now. Properly speaking, the machines for doing the dikes should be happening now. Why do we wait every year, and it is very predictable, for the floods to happen in Nyando, and then we purport to bring in dikes, including our senator purporting to create dikes with his own money, and then the same story of evacuating people. Why can't we build the dikes now, in the next 2 weeks, so that when the rains come, the water is diverted and you don't have to evacuate people?
Senator Sige, under 1 minute, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In his response to Senator Hamida's question, the Honorable CS made reference to a reallocation of the funds that had been requested to renovate Nyayo House. I do not know whether the Honorable CS is aware that the basement to that particular building, which is actually an exit and entry to the lifts, is in a sorry state. There is leaking water or sewerage that is a serious health hazard. And secondly and lastly, whether the CS in his comment about the Maraga Task Force recommendation has plans to implement that particular report, and if so, when will that be implemented in the police force?
Those are 2 questions, Senator. So, Senator Mandago, final question.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Mine is not a question, but I'd like to ask the CS that it looks like there are too many incidences associated with KWS officers. We had an incident in Nakuru. We had an incident in Tana River. Probably your ministry should put a little bit of focus on the officers. And finally, Honorable Speaker, I request the CS probably if we could visit Marsabit just to assess the situation. And
Very
sure
well, Senator.
The other Manyatas have police come so that they can go back.
You're only supposed to ask one question, so the CS will only answer one question. Senator Kavindu, final question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mine is to ask Honorable CS about insecurity. This is insecurity that Senator Murango is asking about is not only in Muranga, but also in Machakos. We have a lot of insecurity, especially in a place called Matungu, Machakos County, and other small areas. What are you doing about it? And also transfers of the police, which have been in our station for more than 3 years. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Cabinet Secretary, you can respond. You only have 5 minutes to respond.
Thank you. I will be as brief as possible, Mr. Speaker. On the question of preventive measures in Kirinyaga, we have listed them in the statement on some of the preventive measures we apply, including preparation, early preparations, working with local community, strengthening Nyumba Kumi, intelligence gathering, training of the officers. So all of them are listed in the statement already, Mr. Speaker. On the question of Senator Muma, I agree with her that this is the time to do so. And this is not just a role that is played by national government. County government also has a responsibility. And to be fair, the county government last year did some good job working together with the national government. The only challenge we continue facing as a country is budgetary constraints. But to agree with you, because now Kisumu is one of the areas that is forecasted to have higher than normal rains, it is important for us to do what we need to do now. And I think we will do everything humanly possible within the budget that we have to do so. On Senator Sigei's on Nyayo actually is, to be honest, Nyayo needs urgent attention, particularly when it comes to the lifts. Anybody who, I have an office there, so I get stuck in the lift many times. So I have a personal experience, including using the basement you've talked about, leaking and so forth. But then when you have a budget situation or austerity measures, you are struggling between providing social services, health and others, and renovations. And that's why we are facing the situation we are facing. But we will continue working to see what we will do with Nyayo House. But I agree with Senator Sigei. And also that in the Maraga report, Mr. Speaker, we are implementing Maraga report in total, including already improved salaries to police officers of a lower cadre. These issues about transfer is being worked out, among many other things. And I think I'll have an opportunity in future to come and expound further because this is a very important report for us, as was the first task force that the President established when he came to office. On the question of Senator Mandago, indeed I'm going to Marsabit soon, and I'll inform the Senator of Marsabit so that we can have a personal view. There are many things that have been happening in Marsabit. We've done massive operation in Marsabit to deal with the issues of OLA and also drugs and many other things. So we will have an opportunity to visit with him so that we can see what's happening. On the KWS issue, indeed, it was of great concern for us what happened in Tana River and Nakuru. And I think we have been in conversation with the DG KWS. We will enhance this conversation between Kenya National Police Service and KWS to see whether there is a problem somewhere that needs to be dealt with among the officers that serve in KWS to ensure that we avert such situations in the future. And finally, I agree with Senator Kavindu, Agnes, that it is true that Machakos, we have had challenges in Matungulu, but those challenges, Mr. Speaker, were also related to criminal gangs, which are owned by politicians in the Matungulu area. And Mr. Speaker, like we have tried to do so across the country, we have been feeling the resurgence of political gangs or criminals posing as political gangs and pretending to be working with politicians across the country, in Western, in Rift Valley, in Mombasa, in Machakos, Matungu area, among others. And Mr. Speaker, we are dealing with it. I promise that we will dismantle these gangs, including in Matungu in Kakamega County. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Cabinet Secretary, and it was nice to have you and